Hello, this is Michael Paul with New Orleans Scottish Rite College. Leo Tolstoy is quoted as saying, "Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself." Tolstoy was talking about the internal, not external changes. He meant that when things go wrong, we often point the finger of blame to other people or situations. Let's look at this subject of change. When we boil Freemasonry down to its most basic element, we find a very simple message: make yourself better. Such a statement can, however, be likened to the phrase, be happy. Sounds easy enough, but how do you do it? How do you know when you are better? What is better? What seems to be an uncomplicated message becomes difficult to put into practice, even to understand. Such is the nature of symbolism. We can start on the path of symbolic understanding by looking at nature. If you look at a beautiful mountain stream, you can find more than beauty. You can find illusion, which is often the guardian of symbolism. Flowing water moves around a large rock in the stream. The illusion is that the rock is the master. We see the water yielding to the rock and being forced to flow around it. We see this and accept it as the truth. Our error is that we determined the truth before we gathered all the facts. In time, gentle flowing water can reduce the largest stone to a pebble. The rock is not the master. In Freemasonry, a subtle lesson is taught early on by putting us in a position where we cannot depend on what we can see. We are forced to depend on others for guidance. We must change in order to function in this new situation. The illusion is that we have been deprived of receiving the full benefit of the initiation. But the illusion masks the lesson. The lesson is we need guidance. The 3 degrees in craft masonry represent the 3 stages in human life: youth, adulthood, and old age. We change to progress through these changes. As children, we play, grow, and learn. As adults, we put into practice what we have learned. And in old age, we pass on our knowledge. In each stage, we change in body and mind. It's the normal way of life. Let's look again at the water and the rock. The gentle flowing water can't break the rock by direct force. Water changes its direction and flows around the rock. In doing so, it gradually affects change in the rock. The gentle pressure of the water forces the rock to give way and reduce itself in size. The rock is not the master after all. The lessons of Masonry are such that we must study them with a child's open and willing mind. In certain aspects of our teachings, we might remember that we are told that it is not acceptable to bring innovations into a body of Masonry. And innovation is change. Are we being told that we cannot or should not change? Not at all. As individuals, we change every day of our lives. We grow older, which brings physical and mental changes. We can also make free will choices in our lives. We might decide to eat a more healthy diet or to exercise. There are countless changes that we can choose. We might also choose to make no free will changes. It's our choice as individuals. But when we speak of innovations in Masonry, we are speaking of something very different. The innovations that are made in Masonry should never be the choice of any single individual. Changes should be the collective will of the membership. In Masonry, it is the lodge, not the worshipful master, who decides the direction to be taken. The worshipful master only steers the ship in the desired direction. In Grand Lodges, we see changes every year. We see resolutions presented and voted on. It's rare that a Grand Lodge will see no change whatsoever in its nature after a Grand Lodge session. Change is normal. Change is expected. In Masonry, the changes we see in its nature often mirror the changes we see in wider society. Freemasons are part of society, and we interact with others on a daily basis. It would be unnatural for us to be social outcasts. If we look back at Masonry 50 or 100 years ago, or even longer, we can see that the nature of Masonry matched that of society in both simple matters such as dress, as well as deeper social or philosophical issues. Even today, we see social differences in Masonry depending on the location of the lodge and its membership. In a large city, you might see the lodge members dressing in a different manner than you would see them in a small town. One is not right and the other wrong. They are just differences in the social norms of the areas. When we look at society and speak of a large country, it would be uninformed to not realize that society's concept of what is and is not acceptable varies from community to community. The overall social structure of a large area allows for change and variations within smaller areas. Speed limits might change from one place to another, as well as many other community-based laws. But where would you find murder legal? Society as a whole has limits as to what is and is not acceptable. Because Grand Lodges are sovereign and free to pass the rules and laws of their liking, it would seem highly improbable that you would find two Grand Lodges with exactly the same set of governing laws. If one Grand Lodge changed its laws to require all its members to wear tuxedos to lodge, it might draw a level of interest from some other Grand Lodges, but that would be about it. By the same term, if most Grand Lodges adopted a particular policy which they felt was extremely important, then those few Grand Lodges not adopting the policy might also be viewed as unacceptable or out of step. Change is not the enemy of Masonry. Just as the water in a stream changes its direction and flows in and around various obstacles, we should recognize that change is not only inevitable, but is in our best interest. If we learn that we have been in error in something, we must be flexible enough to change our actions or thinking. Just as we accept the changes that age brings, the wise man accepts changes of thought when errors are discovered. In a storm, it's the strong, unyielding tree, not the flexible blade of grass, which is in most danger of breaking. Think about it. Thank you for watching. If you like the videos, please hit the like button and subscribe to us. See you next time.